10 reasons aliens won't invade Earth. John Michael Godier, really cool guy. Let's see.
One of the most commonly used tropes in science fiction is that of the notion of an alien invasion. Hundreds of variations on this theme have been written over the years, typically focusing on us having something that is useful enough for aliens to expend the time and...
Yeah, it's really interesting because everyone's like worried about alien invasion. So, oh, they're going to invade. Let's see what he has to say. Like, why they wouldn't. Amos, where are you going?
...energy in conquering Earth. While
yeah, see, I feel like the time and the energy that it would take, like... All right, let's see what he has.
all of this makes for a good story, it doesn't always make for a good reality. After all, this planet has been here for 4.5 billion years and does not appear to have ever
Amos,
been
you got
invaded.
abducted?
Why that is anyone's guess, but here are 10 possible reasons why aliens might not invade Earth. Number 10. The galaxy has nothing but room. Everywhere we look in the Milky Way, we see star after star to the tune of billions, and so far, not one, other than our own solar system, has ever been shown to be an...
Yeah, that's interesting. I guess you kind of see that with the world, just in general, but assuming they're like us, but they might not be. There's just so much space, and if they could get here, like, why go through the trouble of dealing with us? You know what I mean? When they could probably find something else, what they're looking for otherwise, without having to bother us or let us know they exist type thing. I don't know.
Inhabited by a civilization. Some of them may yet be, but we see no evidence of Kardashev Type 3 galactic empires present in this or any other galaxy.
As far as we know,
In fact, so far we have yet to see even a Kardashev Type 2 civilization. This could change, but the one thing that can be said is there...
Because they say that even if they are out there, they could be on some other wavelength or something to where we're not able to detect them and they're hiding themselves from us type thing. So who knows?
appears to be millions of stars that are not being used for anything. Great nebulas rich in raw materials are not rare, but seem to only be forming stars rather than being harvested by someone. Often in science fiction, raw materials are used as a justification for
Welcome back,
invasion.
Ava.
But in the great scheme of things, there appears to be no one picking the low-hanging fruit, much less looking at...
Yeah, what he said about the raw materials. I mean, is there really anything on Earth that they would not be able to find more abundantly elsewhere? I don't know. I would think they'd be more likely to study us. Did they probe Amos? Amos, did they probe you? They were like, oh, what are these? Fighting over toilet paper? Oh, fighting over toilet paper? Yeah. Well, you know.
relatively sparse sources
I wonder if aliens poop.
of raw materials, such as our star system. Number 9. We don't make for good slaves.
Oh.
Another common theme found...
That's another point. So the first, number 10, why they may not invade us, the raw materials, you know, they may not need them or they can get them better other places. I totally agree. Let's see what he says. We don't make good slaves. Probably not. I mean, we're pretty vulnerable. Like, unless they want us to, and what can we do for them? If they have the technology to get to Earth and to like conquer us and whatnot, I doubt they would need anything that we could do outside of just very basic manual labor, which they'd probably have stuff to do that anyway. And we're pretty weak. Like if they take us on the spaceship, like we would die. You know what I mean? Like that's kind of weird. Let's see what he has to say.
Science fiction alien invasions is a desire for
Oh, you get better
labor.
cell reception?
This is not without precedent. A number of human cultures have employed it, but those cultures were also dealing with primitive technologies and required human labor.
Yeah, and those other sources were also human, and they're not like taking them off the planet, and they're not asking them to do something that they couldn't do themselves, right?
The problem is, biological human labor will someday go obsolete.
Sure.
It already is in our world as technological unemployment increasingly...
I mean, I guess they could use this for some, well, I would say organ harvesting, but they wouldn't need to, unless there was some like intergalactic, maybe human meat is like super tasty, and they could like use us as a farm like we do for animals. They could like farm us, you know what I mean? They would make me what you would call a bull. I would be a breeding human, to create more.
It becomes a problem. Simply put, robots can be better at almost anything we do if they become advanced enough. Any civilization in the galaxy capable of long-distance space travel and the technologies implied by that would likely have robotics so
That's what I
advanced
said.
that no biological labor at all would be needed. And besides, as long as you keep the technology under control and don't go all crazy with artificial intelligence, mindless robots will never revolt. Humans would, every chance we could, making us useless to the aliens.
But again, I don't know if, like, I mean, if we did some sort of revolution or whatever against them, I don't know. I don't think it would work, for one. And I wonder if they could use us for some sort of, like, processing power or something. Like, just keep us, like, in some sort of, like, we would be asleep, but we would be slaves. You know what I mean? But, like, in, like one of those tubes. I don't know. Why does all the Hollywood movies portray alien civilizations? Used to be united species while Earthlings divided by borders. I don't know. Like the Matrix. Maybe. You know, I've never seen the Matrix. I don't want any conversation. I'm just throwing that out there. I've never seen the Matrix. And at this point, I don't want to see it because everyone in the world has seen it probably except for me.
8. Our planet is fundamentally useless. Yet another common theme within invasion sci-fi.
Well, that's kind of like the first one. Our planet is useless. I mean, for invaders or whatnot.
Idea that Earth, or we, is something an alien civilization wants. This could be something like water or even information, and they invade to get it from us. Trouble is, we don't have much of anything.
Yeah.
Earth is nothing special. It's made up of the same materials we see out in the galaxy at large. Immense quantities of water exist in the universe, both in frozen and liquid form. In fact, it appears to be common in our own solar system. You see it almost everywhere.
Yeah, again, that's like to the same point where why would they go through the trouble with messing with us when they could find the stuff much easier somewhere else?
Much the same for information. What could we tell the aliens that
Right.
they didn't already know or couldn't learn on their own? The truth is, not.
Unless you bring that back to they would study us type thing. But I think if they wanted to study us, they would either do it without us knowing about it or they wouldn't try to destroy us. I don't know.
Much. About the only information we have unique to ourselves is information about ourselves. It's highly unlikely that an alien civilization would expend in.
Yeah, because they're definitely not going to be asking us about space travel. But you have to think maybe like scientists here, we study things. We study animals. We study, you know, freaking killer mermaids in Alaska, all sorts of stuff.
Level resources on finding out what a potato chip is. Number 7, we are very likely not tasty.
Well, how does he know that?
Speaking of foods,
See, that's what I was saying, because they could farm us, you know what I mean? But he says we're very likely not tasty. Well, maybe they could use us as a, I don't know, let's see.
Your planet. Surrounding you are millions of species, from bacteria to plants to animals. Now ask yourself, how many of them would you eat? Out of all life on this planet, we eat only a comparative handful of species. Many are fundamentally unpalatable, such as most plants, but many are outright poisonous, causing anything from intestinal discomfort to death. Now imagine an alien species with radically different biochemistry.
That's true. That's true, because you have to, if they were going to eat us, you have to assume they even like eat or that they get energy from eating. They could like just get, I mean, it would be totally different. They probably wouldn't even be like humanoids or whatever.
They would have evolved on a world eating flora and fauna unique to that planet.
Again, assuming
it's unlikely that anything here or anything they might have would be appealing to either species, and there's no guarantee that they even eat in the same way that we do. Life here doesn't always, so the idea of aliens eating us is a hard sell, much in the same way as an oak tree munching on pineapples would be.
Could you imagine that, an oak tree munching on pineapples?
And we might even be poisonous.
We could be.
Number 6. Our genetics aren't useful. Another culturally pervasive notion is that of mating with an alien.
Ooh,
from Captain Kirk's Green Lady to the aliens' xenomorph facehuggers using us as reproductive resources, there are many takes on this idea. But in reality, genetics doesn't really.
An alien STD is a cure for human cancer. It might be some freaking space AIDS.
Work that simply. The vast majority of species on Earth can't reproduce with each other, despite being related. There are no jellyfish.
I know I can't reproduce with Amos. Lord knows we've tried. Shep knows.
bonobo hybrids slithering about. And while parasitic types of reproduction do occur, yay for the xenomorphs, that's using a host as grounds for reproduction, not reproduction with a mate. Genetic compatibility with a species you have zero relation to, something truly alien from another world, would be so unlikely that lottery odds are better.
True.
But even if there was compatibility, would there be attraction?
Well, I don't think you would need attraction. I mean, at least one party would need attraction, maybe.
Green Lady was a human in green makeup, remember? Alien life would be alien, and might be about as attractive as kissing a facehugger.
Well, some people like that.
But there's an even deeper problem hiding within this. Each day we learn more about genetics and DNA. While we don't yet know everything, there will come a time when we have a full command of that science. It's likely that an alien species capable of space travel would have that as well. Even if they didn't have DNA of their own, which is unlikely, it's still just a matter of chemistry. As a result, they could probably do whatever they wanted with genetics, possibly building DNA strands from the ground up to build any kind of programmable creature they wish. If so, what use would they have for our natural and rather messy DNA?
Well, it could, again, be
Number
just
5.
like for studying or something, just for knowledge about the universe. I'm sure there's a face hugger, Rule 30. Oh, you know there is.
The human and the ant.
I mean, yeah, I
Ants
assume.
usually go unnoticed. Unless they bother us, we pass by their dwellings. And
Yeah, see, this is exactly what I was saying. Yeah, we study things, so but that's a common thing, the whole anthill thing.
We pay them any mind. Even less do we stop and speak to them.
Right.
Only a scientist studying ants would take further interest, but even then, they typically don't plant a flag in the anthill and declare themselves the new queen.
Well,
we have to consider that aliens may have no interest in us at all, for anything. They may be a billion years more advanced, and messing around with us might be no different than junking your idea for a Caribbean cruise in favor of trekking to a plain in Africa to study one specific anthill that you once saw a picture of that may or may not even still be there.
Yeah, I don't know about that.
Why would you invade an anthill? Number 4.
All right, number
They're
4.
More interesting alive than dead. Or say they are interested. Say they are consummate scientists and historians interested in all aspects of alien cultures. This isn't unreasonable. We certainly would be.
Yeah,
and,
right.
Well, have to say it, an alien anthill would still be extremely interesting to us to the point that we would go to great lengths to study it. But what we likely wouldn't do is willfully exterminate it in order to study it.
Right.
Such things happen on Earth, but for very different reasons than scientific curiosity. As a result, the scholar aliens probably would not declare themselves our overlords and plant a flag in our cosmic anthill. But instead, they might just show up, enter orbit, and tell us not to mind them. They just want to watch us, with cameras everywhere.
Yeah, we just want to watch. If we could be part of some, like, intergalactic reality TV show.
24 hours a day, for millions of years. Number 3.
All right.
It's
I would say, question. If aliens came to you and said, hey, want to come with us, would you go? Probably not. I mean, probably not. No, I got to stream.
not worth it given the distances. The universe is enormous in a way that can't really be visualized in terms of Earth travel. You can say that Alpha Centauri is 25 trillion miles away, or about 40 trillion kilometers, but it's hard to visualize just how far that is. If you shrink the scales down and make Earth the size of a grain of sand, that star is still several thousand miles away. That's still extremely close in terms of the rest of the galaxy, so needless to say, the distances involved for interstellar travel at sublight speeds are daunting and limiting. This works the same whether you...
I've often thought about that, like, if you were like some space pioneer, can you imagine, you know how fast, SpaceNet, what? That's not how you spell, what? Do you think they have internet? Probably, yes, SpaceNet. Imagine being some sort of space pioneer. Like, we're going to send you on a multi-generational ship to this other planet. It's going to take you probably 4 or 5 generations to get there. And people will be born on this ship and die on this ship and reproduce on this. You know what I mean? It'd be like a little big ship civilization type thing. But with how fast stuff advances, can you imagine like being on that ship? And then like, you're an old man, like 90 years later. And then another ship like just zooms past you. You know what I mean? From the same planet. Like, hey guys, you know, or they stop there for like a pee break. And they're like, yeah, we'll be there in like 2 weeks. And you're like, bro, can you imagine? I'd be, oh,
You are an exploration craft or an alien invasion force. The logistics
It's
of
a long
moving
trip
around
or
the
you never
assets
return.
you need on those distance scales, and the time involved change the equations for whether you would invade and conquer a planet. With enough distance, no planet is worth it, especially when you consider that such distances
I love
also
Earth
prevent
too.
you from anything close to real-time reconnaissance until you get close by. In other words, what you saw as a primitive civilization from the deck of your fleet flagship 1500 years before you reached your target could well have developed advanced weaponry and technology by the time you were finally in proximity to invade. That uncertainty would make any such expensive undertakings likely not feasible.
That's interesting, yeah.
Number 2, we are already obviously and flagrantly dangerous.
Oh, totally.
Sci-fi often depicts us as woefully unprepared for an alien invasion once it happens, but often the writers of that kind of sci-fi have to assume.
Look, Ameth. This is where Ameth lives. Right there. Right there. Go in a spaceship and travel far, then you return, stay the same age, but everyone on Earth ages. Nah, I wouldn't like that.
Essentially tone down or negate the weapons we do have, most typically giving the aliens shields that can withstand nuclear weapons. Little attention is paid to just how those shields function, and there really isn't much of a basis for such a strong yet invisible shield of this type in science. But look at our weaponry in terms of sci-fi. If I were to tell you a story about an interstellar war where one side possessed weapons that had the effect of recreating a piece of a star right next to a spaceship, you would assume that
I did. It was that one little light in the middle of India. Time to move.
the ship would be destroyed. But that's more or less what a hydrogen bomb is, an advanced nuclear fusion device designed specifically to destroy something. While bigger bombs can always be envisioned, the fact that we have H-bombs at all, and as a civilization achieved that technology so early, means that anyone else in the galaxy probably has them too, and that may be enough to...
See, I feel like if the aliens thought we were dangerous and they knew about us, but we didn't know about them, then I think that they would be much more advanced than we were. Therefore, we wouldn't really be as dangerous to them unless they didn't have good defenses. But I don't know.
keep otherwise hostile alien civilizations from messing with us or anyone else. And there's more reason to think this than simply blowing up the aliens' flagship. At sublight speeds, we're probably going to detect a giant invasion fleet well before it gets close.
Well, I would hope so.
But even if we don't, if for some reason we don't think we can target the aliens with a nuke or don't have time, we can still target ourselves with a full global thermonuclear exchange and go out in a blaze of glory and poison the planet for the invaders.
Can you imagine the government doing that? They tell us, listen, we're about to be invaded. We're all going to launch our nukes. Can you imagine? That's totally something they would do. Oh my God. Brahms will put you up in his basement. Oh, for sure. Come on over.
Such a thing could be arranged very quickly on this world. Minutes on the orders of only a handful of world leaders.
That's freaking scary, bro. Like, if they wanted to, probably 12 people could destroy everything on Earth. That's freaking scary.
Number 1. Earth itself could be deadly poisonous to biological aliens. The biggest improbability in sci-fi regarding alien invasions is that aliens could stand around on Earth without a spacesuit. You can't do that.
Well, I think that they would bring their own ish. You know what I mean? Even the universe is 50 billion years old. That's very young. Might be one of the first few. Yeah, sure. That's another theory too. He's got a Fermi paradox video, which is very good. He's got a few of them.
Anywhere in the solar system other than Earth. Same for any exoplanet we yet know of. Stand on Mars wearing little but a t-shirt and you are soon dead.
That's
the surface
true.
of Venus is way worse.
Yeah.
In fact, you can't even breathe in Earth's own oceans without technology, and fish
What those Alaskan mermaids can.
likewise can't usually breathe the atmosphere. Even if you could breathe Mars's atmosphere, you're still dead from the sun's unbridled radiation pretty quickly. And then there's the much lower atmospheric pressure. Point is, the universe is mostly deadly to you anywhere except your home planet, and the same is likely true for aliens, but it gets worse. Your own planet in the past has been hospitable to life itself, but deadly for you. Go into the far future and it will be deadly again. You
Yeah,
can
it could
only
be.
exist on your home planet under natural circumstances for so long. While it's hard to envision intelligent life existing on anything but oxygen, there are few chemical alternatives to run large brains.
Yeah, sure.
The oxygen levels of atmospheres could vary wildly, along with the other gases present. In short, Earth probably wouldn't have the right mix for an alien to breathe, which would make this planet virtually useless for conquest and
What was the thing? We're carbon based, but I think there's like silicon based life, or like they think there might be or something. You posted in suggestions. Nice. You got a clip that involves UFOs. Venus is like in-laws' house. Yeah, pretty hot and gassy.
So that's 10 reasons why real-world extraterrestrials would not invade Earth. So you can sleep well tonight, knowing that tomorrow you probably won't wake up to your new alien overlords. Unfortunately, there is another side to this coin, so expect a future video detailing 10 reasons aliens might invade. Thanks for listening. I am futurist and science fiction author John Michael Godier.
Yeah.
If you would like to help support
this
channel,
guy's freaking awesome.
Link in the description below, or check out my books at your favorite online book retailer and subscribe to my channel for regular in-depth explorations into the interesting, weird, and unknown aspects of this amazing universe in which we live.
He's a pretty cool guy, man. He's got all sorts of stuff.